everybody, and welcome to our top 10 quick comic picks. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is a real quick show where we show you about 10 of the biggest and best books we think you'll want to check out when you go into your comic book store this week, or you get them shipped to you, any of that goodness. But some very good ones this week. They've come back swinging after the
Yeah, it was a
holidays.
good start to a brand new year, and happy new year to
Happy
all of
New
you
Year.
guys. Hope you guys had a safe and happy new year. 2024 starting off with a bang. And we are going to start with Vengeance of the Moon Knight #1, the new Moon Knight series taking place following the events of Moon Knight number 30, where Moon Knight Mark Spector died. And now here's the fallout, except that there is a new Moon Knight who is kind of at odds with Reese and Tigra and everybody else who is still carrying on the mission of the Midnight Mission. Who is the the new Moon Knight, and why does he not like what they're doing? I don't know. The story doesn't tell us, but it's still a really good start.
And he looks really cool.
He does look cool, yeah.
And first up for me is Fall of the House of X. So this is kind of the bookend to the original start of the Krakoan era. And in this one, Cyclops is going on trial. Basically, they're kind of using him as a stand-in for all of the mutantdom, and he is doesn't look good for him. But it looks like there is a big plan in place as the mutants are about to make their last big stand. The art is great in this. It's just a really fun book. If you've been reading any of the X-Men stuff for the past few years, definitely pick this one up.
Next is a new book from Boom called Pine and Merrimac. This is the first issue here. It's about a couple named Lenny and Parker Kent. They leave the big city to open their own private detective agency in a much smaller town, just dealing with cases of cheating spouses or insurance fraud or something like that. But when a couple comes in begging for their help to find their missing daughter, they start to investigate. They get a couple of leads and quickly find out that it might be a much bigger case than they originally thought.
And next up for me is Kneel Before Zod. This is a new miniseries at DC that is within the normal continuity, but it almost feels like a Black Label book because Zod has now he's got a new Krypton that he has taken over, and he wants to rebuild the Kryptonian race. Him with his wife and his son. But it looks like this is just a setup, but looks like he's going to be facing a lot more challenges than he initially thought. And it says this is a tragedy, and I can see exactly how. So definitely check out Kneel Before Zod for a very interesting new dark book from DC.
And next from Marvel is Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, #1. This is the newest Spider-Man 2099 series from Steve Orlando, and this one is kind of sort of a zombie story where Spider-Man goes up against the zombie of 2099, even though he's not called that in this book. And he basically has to figure out how to cure these zombies, or can he cure these zombies because his mother is one of the victims, and that's not good for him or
Yeah.
her.
Next, we have Beware the Planet of the Apes. This is a new, I guess they're just doing miniseries now. I'm not quite sure, but I believe this is just a miniseries. But this is actually set in the kind of the continuity of the original Planet of the Apes. And it is a prequel to that where one of the apes goes missing and their family has to go looking for them using a human as a guide, which they don't necessarily like. But if you're a fan of the classic Planet of the Apes, you'll definitely like this one.
And next is the Batman and Scooby Doo Mysteries #1. This is a new ongoing series. There's been a couple of Batman Scooby Doo miniseries. This one is ongoing, but it's also a nice one and done where Nightwing and the Scooby Gang investigate the haunted Haley Circus, which is Nightwing's, that's his old stomping grounds when he was a kid, because they think it's haunted by dead man, which is really neat. Dead Man is a factor in this, and it's just your typical Scooby Doo investigation. Really fun. The artwork is cartoony, but still really good. This was just a fun book.
Next up, I've got our next Beast World one shot. This is Titan Beast World Tour Atlantis, dealing with the Aquaman and family. It's really cool. It's got three stories, one focusing on like kind of Aquaman and Tempest, another one on some of the Suicide Squad going up against a giant kind of kaiju version of Black Manta. And lastly, there is a story about Jackson Hyde and Mara that's very cool. But I think the one of the most interesting part is the end of the Suicide Squad story because Amanda Waller looks like she's doing her own little bit of experimenting. That's pretty dark, but pretty good issue, and just glad to see some more Aquaman stories.
Amanda Waller's always up to no good. Last for me is Marvel Meow. This is a one shot that collects all 18 issues of the Marvel Meow Infinity comic on the Marvel Unlimited app. And there's almost no dialogue in each of these stories. It's just, fun, cute little stories featuring cats of the various superheroes just getting into trouble, getting into mischief. But there's a lot of fun artwork, a lot of just fun situations that the cats get themselves into. So if you're a big cat fan, you might very well like this book.
And I know there's a Doctor Doom cat
There he
that
is.
is adorable.
Yeah, there is.
And then lastly for me, I've got Star Wars: The High Republic, Shadows of Starlight #4. This is a great issue. So each of these has kind of filled in the gap of the year time jump from Phase 1 to Phase 3. And this one follows Marchion Ro, who is, of course, the kind of big bad of the High Republic. What has he been doing? What has he been scheming? And who is kind of whispering in his ear, telling him what to do? Maybe he's not the only brain behind the Nile, but just a great, great issue. If you've been reading any of the High Republic stuff, this is a definite recommend miniseries. And that is it for our top 10 quick comic picks. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned soon for we got our longer video. We're going over these books plus much more, their variants, all that good stuff. And make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and head over to infinityflux.net where you can pre-order the books. You can order the books while supplies last that you saw us talk about here. And until next time,
See ya.